Hey everyone, good afternoon. This is yours truly, Dr. Dan with Closeforchiro, where we show you how to get the yes with less stress. I want to first thank ChiroSecure for having me here today. And I got to tell you, I keep up with a lot of stuff, and Alan Weinstein, Stu Hoffman, and team and Sharon are doing a fantastic job, not only providing really good service on the malpractice front, but also that seems like, from what I'm seeing, is doing a bang up job being committed to getting our profession informed about subjects of liability and compliance. So, a huge shout out to the ChiroSecure team. They are indeed my malpractice provider because I am indeed in practice just like you guys out there. I even plunge toilets, believe it or not. I do payroll, which I just got an email about doing that. I have floors to mop. I have stock to buy, and I have face paper to tear. I see my own patients. I manage cases. And I got to tell you something, being in doing the work every day, just like you guys, I understand where you're coming from. I understand the challenges. And I don't really know how I would understand those challenges if I wasn't doing it, which is a really important aspect of why I do what I do. Because one thing I want to do for sure for my colleagues out there is to empower you with the certainty that there's certain things that you should be doing in practice and should not be doing in practice. And for those of you who don't know me by now, I'm in the report of findings business. I want to show my docs how to do a day one, day two, so that not only do your patients say yes to you, which they should be, but you're also demanding the fees that you deserve, as well as setting up the first 2 days in your practice so that for the remainder of the time that you have with your patients, it's optimal so that you can serve your patients to the highest abilities as possible. And that's really what we do here. But before we get into any of that, I do want to get something off my chest. And this has been bothering me for a good amount of time. Um, and that has to do with this idea and this concept or this subject matter called sales. Now, I know anytime I say that word, for some of you out there, it tugs on a really negative part of your core, because y'all think that sales is something that's negative, or it's sleazy, or it's something that you shouldn't be doing and selling people on this and selling people on that. And I got to tell you, one of my purposes in this industry, in the chiropractic industry, is to rebrand this thing we call sales, because frankly, sales is not fraudulent. It's not manipulation. It only gets that press because anytime someone sells something fraudulently or through manipulation, we talk about it. But in actuality, sales is service. Sales is a way for us to serve our community and serve our patients, because it's actually the highest level of communication you can achieve through your patients, so that they know exactly what you're doing and how you're doing it. To me, that is the whole purpose of chiropractic, right? It's we're DCs, the doctor of connection. We want to connect people. We're in the relationship business. However, when it comes down to learning and utilizing how to make someone across from you say yes to what you do, somehow that becomes something we wing in our offices every single day. And I got to tell you something. We may spend time, energy, and money on our paint color, our furniture, our staff, our malpractice insurance, our EHR. And then when it comes down to doing something in our offices, in order for us to get someone across from us to understand what chiropractic is and what it's not and willing to pay for it, we somehow seem to wing it. I got to say, though, one of the things that happens in the typical practice is this panic syndrome, when we feel like we're not hitting our goals, when we're not seeing the numbers that we should be seeing, when we're not making the revenue that we should be making. And one of the knee-jerk reflexes that happens in this profession that I see is that we start wanting to diversify. And what I mean by that is, if you have a menu of services that consists of one thing, let's just say for argument's sake, is that you're an adjustment exclusive office, and that's what you want to do, and you feel like you're not making ends meet doing that. One of the biggest mistakes I see in the industry is that we start to diversify. What that's like is like back in the 60s or 70s, whenever McDonald's started, they got really good at selling one thing and one thing only: burgers and fries and soft drinks. That's what they did. It wasn't until they learned how to sell that very well over time is when they started to diversify their offerings. And now I can go to McDonald's and I can buy a breakfast burrito. And the reason that sells just as good as a burger is because they got really good at selling one thing and one thing only. Doctors in the field, my colleagues, my profession, my industry, one of the things I want to impart to you all is that there's a correct way to sell one thing. And for us, and as far as I'm concerned, it should be the adjustment. And if we can all rally behind that and learn how to sell the adjustment so that it's something that your community wants and are willing to pay for, we are absolutely going to break through that market share that we don't have right now. Now, so let me give you an example. One of the things that we do in our offices is that when we start talking about things that we do, we say it and we explain it from our perspective. Now, I got to tell you something. Even though you might not think it's a selfish thing to do, I'm telling you, it's a very self-serving and selfish thing to do, to explain things and communicate that from the perspective of the provider, and that's you. All too often, I see docs in the field explain what they do. And you know what? And I know for a fact that when I hear a doctor explaining what they do, I can feel their passion for what they do. So we have no lack of passion. How could you not? If you're practicing for any length of time and you see the miracles that come into your office every single day, how could you not be passionate about it? But when you're explaining to someone who doesn't know anything about what you do, you explain it from your perspective. You'll talk about the science. You talk about the research. You talk about the philosophy. While you're doing that, the person across from you has no idea what you're talking about. And the only one who feels good about this at the end of the day is the chiropractor. See, that's not sales. That's not communication. That's nothing. That's just one person on a diatribe about what he or she does to satisfy their own need and eagerness to share this with the community. So, what do? We all have to understand that everyone has a different level of understanding about a subject matter. And right now, chiropractic, in terms of its understanding from the general public, is still in its infancy. Chiropractic is so deep, it has so much depth that to the degree that we understand and entrenched and passionate about chiropractic is the degree that we become disconnected with our communities. Let me say that one more time. To the degree that we are passionate about what we do is a degree that we get disconnected from our community. What that means is we're so into our stuff that we don't actually break it down and make it consumable for the general population. And that's one of the things like I think ChiroSecure does so well. I mean, we're talking insurance business. It's way over my head. But the way Stu and Alan, everyone breaks it down is they put it into a perspective that we can understand as troglodytes, as someone who's just, a common person. See, that's respectful to the community. That's respectful to the marketplace. And until our profession can do that, I believe we will continue to struggle. So what's the answer here? Well, the answer is very simple. Doctors, anytime you open your mouth, think about what it's going to sound like from the perspective of your prospectives. Now, I know you all can do that. You know why? Because you all have been consumers way before you were salespeople. And I know you consume things every single day. So if you just take a time out and you think about what you want to say from the perspective of your prospect, the words change, your connection changes. And I want to let you know at Closeforchiro, this is what we do. We make the concept of sales consumable for the average modern chiropractor because we all know the market change is changed even in the past 5 years. And unless we learn how to adapt and change our languaging so that it is picked up by our community that has no clue about what we do, we'll continue to struggle. Our day 1 to 2 masterclass is literally that. We take a doc from 0 to 100, A to Z, and literally hold their hand and walk them through exactly how to say something, when to say it, the timing of it, the sequencing of it, so that we increase the odds of the other person, our prospects, our patients, saying, yes, I understand it, and yes, I want it, and yes, I'm willing to pay what you want me to pay for it. That's what a masterclass is. We don't work on contracts. It's a one and done. And that's another problem that I find in the profession is that, you know what? You don't have to be married to something. We just want to show you how to do it and you're done. Our next masterclass is, depending on when you're listening to this, is May 18th and 19th in Irvine, California. It's a 2-day process. You fly in, you fly out, and on Monday, you start to see the returns. And I'm not just saying that. This is what I'm being told by over 2,000, almost 3,000 chiropractors that I've trained over the 5 or 6 years. And I can, and we guarantee it. In other words, if after the first day, it ain't for you, it ain't for you. We don't play games, because I know for certain that one of the things that you don't have any more of in your professional lives is you don't have any more time to waste. So again, I hope you got something out of that. Again, this is Dr. Bay with Closeforchiro, where we show you how to get the yes with less stress. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
This has been a ChiroSecure production.